let's delve into the remarkable organ that is the human brain. This soft, gelatinous structure, weighing about 3 pounds, is the seat of intelligence, interpreter of the senses, initiator of body movement, and controller of behavior. It is the most complex structure known to humanity, housing approximately 86 billion neurons. The brain is generally divided into 3 main parts: the cerebrum, cerebellum, and the brainstem, each with specific functions that make our life as we know it possible. The cerebrum, the largest part, is further divided into 2 cerebral hemispheres. The outer layer of these hemispheres is called the cerebral cortex, a repository of information and cognitive skills. It is here that we find the centers for thought, perception, and memory. The cerebrum is divided into 4 main lobes: frontal, parietal, temporal, and occipital, each responsible for different types of conscious experiences. The frontal lobe, for instance, is involved in planning, decision-making, and voluntary movement, while the occipital lobe is primarily involved in vision. Moving on to the cerebellum, often referred to as the little brain, it's primarily responsible for precise timing and coordination of movements. It enables us to perform motor tasks smoothly and efficiently, from walking to catching a ball. And then we have the brainstem, our life support system. It controls our heart rate, breathing, swallowing, and whether we are awake or asleep. It's also a conduit for signals passing from the rest of the brain to the body and vice versa. Deep within the fascinating architecture of the brain lies its fundamental building blocks: neurons. There are approximately 86 billion neurons in the human brain, each functioning like a tiny information processing unit. Neurons communicate with each other, relaying messages throughout your body and powering all of your thoughts and actions. Neurons talk to each other using both electrical and chemical signals. Messages start as electrical signals traveling rapidly down a neuron. These signals are called action potentials. When they reach the gap between 2 neurons, the messages need some help to get across. The information is transformed from an action potential into a chemical message which crosses the gap called a synapse. The release of those chemical messengers can trigger an action potential in the neuron on the other side of the synapse, conveying the message onward, or it can quiet the message. This happens over and over and over, and with repeated activity apps get stronger, so the next message is more likely to get through that way. Neurons learn to pass on important messages and ignore the rest. This is how our brains learn and adapt to an ever-changing world. Each neuron forms about 7,000 synaptic connections, resulting in a staggering number of connections in the brain. In fact, it's been estimated that the number of potential patterns of brain activity exceeds the number of atoms in the known universe. The beauty of our brains lies not just in their complexity but also in their flexibility. The brain constantly rewires and reshapes its neuronal network in response to new information and experiences, a phenomenon known as neuroplasticity. For instance, London taxi drivers, known for their extensive knowledge of the city's complex road network, have been found to have a larger hippocampus, the area of the brain associated with spatial memory. This is a compelling example of neuroplasticity at work, showing how our brains adapt and change according to our experiences and learning. Similarly, in response to injury or disease, the brain may undergo reorganization, where functions of damaged areas are taken up by other areas, again exemplifying neuroplasticity. As we continue to explore the brain's dynamic landscape, these insights into neurons, synapses, and neuroplasticity unlock new possibilities for understanding learning, memory, recovery, and the vast potential of the human mind.